Flosstube, and welcome to Fairy Tales and French Knots. I'm Erin, and this is my channel about cross-stitch, where I talk long enough to make my family wonder what I'm up to, but short enough that you can probably watch this on your lunch break. Today is Sunday, October 26th, 2025, and this is episode 44. I don't know about you, but this time of year makes me want to put a big pot of soup on the stove and just sit and cross-stitch all day. But then there's all this other stuff I have to do, like work, things for my kid, go to sporting events, homecoming, Halloween decorating, leaf raking, lawn mowing. I mean, really, if I have to rake the leaves, why do I have to mow the lawn too? I mean, nature needs to understand that I just don't have enough time. And honestly, I have stopped raking and disposing of leaves because I really like the idea that I'm leaving homes for butterflies and valuable bugs. So keep that in mind. If you're, not wanting to go out and do all the yard work, maybe you don't have to. But anyway, what it comes down to is the thing that I'd like to be doing most on the weekends feels like I never get to do. So I do have some progress to show off tonight. I have one finish, and I have some thoughts on craft and activism and our place in this big confusing world. So if you're not into that, feel free to turn this off at any point. I won't be offended. I probably won't even know. So let's start with what I finished. What I have finished is Halloween Parcheesi by the Primitive Needle. So there it is. This is stitched on 40 count sheep's straw linen using the called for Weeks Dye Works flosses, which I believe were charcoal and carrot. So came out super cute. You can find this pattern again. For those of you who don't know, the Primitive Needle was a designer named Lisa Roswell who passed away rather unexpectedly and tragically. Many of her patterns, well, all of her patterns were out of print for a very long time. Her family chose not to keep them in production. But within the past 6 months to a year, I think, her daughter has started digitizing them and selling them as PDFs on the Primitive Needle website, which I will link below if you want to check those out. They're really cute, primitive, creepy little patterns, and I like a lot of them. I have a lot of them. As one of my friends has said, though, investing in cross-stitch patterns is not a solid retirement plan because you never know when something will be either re-released or people will just hate it. Anyway, yeah, cross-stitch futures are not a good investment strategy. So this pattern, however, Halloween Parcheesi, was very recently re-released on the website. If you go looking for it there, however, it is Halloween Pacheesi, P-A-C-H-I-S-I. This, as you may have noticed, is Parcheesi, P-A-R-C-H-E-E-S-I. And I believe that is a licensing issue. When this pattern was originally released, I don't know if copyright and trademark was not pursued to the extent that it is now, but Parcheesi, spelled with the R like that, is the board game that was marketed here in the United States and possibly elsewhere. Pacheesi is the game as it is known as a cultural thing in India, I believe. So you can play Pacheesi, which is the same as Parcheesi, but you cannot buy a trademarked version called Pacheesi. Did that make sense? It's kind of like, to me, it sounds very similar to what Blackbird Designs ran into with their Beatles patterns, where they had to pull some of them back out of the market because they didn't have the rights to use the Beatles lyrics the way they did. I feel like this got caught in that same kind of thing where the company said Parcheesi is our name, it's our trademark, you can't have that on your needlework. So anyway, all of that confusing mush to say that I had the original pattern, I stitched it, and here it is, and it's all finished. Ta-da! So there's that. That was my one finish for the past couple weeks. I've made some progress on a couple other things. I've been working on the old Shaker Tune by Homespun Elegance, and I got all of the wording done. All the lyrics are done. I did change the top from Old Shaker Tune to Simple Gifts. Thank you, Shelley, for that idea. And it isn't perfectly centered, but I don't care enough to take it out and change it. Looks fine to me. I've also been working on the vines, and the top bit has a tree now. There is a girl that stands right in here. I think there's a birdhouse or something and a sheep. So there's other things that have to be added, but it's getting there. I've also been working on Arrive Late by Dirty Annie's. And there's that. I must be on a lettering kick because I have all the words done on this one too. So better to arrive late than to arrive ugly. And I have most of the girl done there on the side, and I started some of the borders, lace borders on the top and bottom. So that's coming along. I started that during Midsummer Stitch because Lap and Loops was one of the live streams, and this is a Lap and Loops fabric. This is actually Grandpa's shop rag. And that is the fabric that the model was stitched on. So listening to the folks from Lap and Loops talk made me want to start something on their fabric, and I had something, so off I went. And the final thing that I've started, actually started just this weekend, was from Monster Bubbles. I started, speaking of licensing and patterns you probably can't buy because they aren't licensed properly, this is Strawberry Fields. And it has, you can't really see from the picture, but it has the lyrics to Strawberry Fields all around the edge. It's got the "Nothing is real and nothing to get hung about, Strawberry Fields forever," running around the outside in a gold floss. Not metallic gold. Never metallic gold. But yes, I have a feeling I went looking for this pattern again to see if I could find where anyone had stitched it or finished it or any information about it, and I could find nothing. And I wondered if, much like Blackbird Designs had to take down all of their Beatles stuff, if Monster Bubbles took hers down as well. This is, I don't see a copyright quickly jumping off the page at me, but I'm not even sure if Monster Bubbles is still designing, so I don't know. One thing I will say, this pattern drove me nuts because the symbols are very similar. Like, they're not, like, there's a square, and then there's a square, and then there's this thing. And when they're printed really, really tiny, they look the same. And they are printed really, really tiny because they the pattern is 167 by 185, which is not huge. But it's printed on one piece of paper, one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, folded in half, stuck in here. And it made me crazy. I actually went into Floss Cross and recreated the entire pattern. Didn't change it, not going to sell it, not going to do anything for profit, but I just recreated it so that I could use Pattern Keeper and actually see what I was doing. And so far, what I have done, I just started this one last night. I've got this much done. I'm a center starter, if you're wondering. So I've got a red strawberry, part of a red strawberry, part of a pink one here in the center, and then another red one at the bottom, and some vines. This is a 40 count Verdal from Banana Oil. And I love the way the reds and pinks pop on the purple. So this one will get worked on some more, I'm sure. And the other thing that made me very happy is that this is in a project portfolio, project folio, I'm not sure what to call it, but one of these from Steno Stitches, which I got on Etsy. One change I made to it is I sewed a little mother of pearl ring here in the top so that I could hang all my flosses. But yes, this is my strawberry holder, which I think, I love this. It's so cute. So that's my progress on the three things I've been working on. I have a little bit of stash, just a little bit. I'm trying to be better about stash. And one thing I have done for myself, and I actually am just about finished with, I've been using Notion online, and I'm sure several of us have played around with the Stitchery template. That was, somebody mentioned it at, I think, Midsummer Stitch, or maybe it was last year's Jingle Ball. I don't even remember now. But I downloaded the template. I started trying to move things around, and I was having a lot of trouble because a lot of the Stitchery behind the scenes pieces are designed to track productivity. And Notion itself is a productivity tool for the office. So it's very understandable for the way it worked, but I'm a librarian. And I wanted to catalog things. And I wanted, sorry to talk library here, but I wanted authority records. Like, I want everything by this designer and I want it here. And I want to be able to cross-reference the chart with the designer and then find the other things by the designer. And I want to assign subjects, and I want to know where they are by location. And so I wanted to use it more like a really robust inventory tool than a productivity tracker. And when I started going into the template and going, well, I don't need this, and throwing stuff out, then the stuff I did want didn't work right. So I designed my own. I redesigned the whole thing, and I have my very own stash inventory. I'm trying to make it work with a fabric inventory as well, so I can mix together, the things I'm using. And I've made really good friends with chat because I can envision the structures I want, but I'm not a coder who can figure out like why this isn't showing up where I want it to. So I use chat, I confess. And I will say that when asked correctly, you can get some really helpful answers out of chat. So that's where chat told me, this is designed for productivity, not so much as a catalog, but we can find ways to kind of, twist it to do what you want. The one thing I have learned, and I think I knew this, but if you have a project, and I am making a project, like finished project section, if you have a project that you've worked on or finished, and then you go into your pattern database and delete the pattern, then your project disappears too, which makes sense because they're all linked. But it's kind of annoying because what if I get rid of the pattern? Like, what if I want to give someone else my copy of Halloween Parcheesi? Well, I finished it, but that database can't keep track of it unless I tell it what pattern it came from. Sorry for the librarian rant, because that's really what this was. Let's go to the two new things that I'm adding to my stash, right? First of all, I got this on a Facebook group. This is a little teeny thing. I'm guessing it was from either a retreat or a market show of some kind. I intend to stitch it a bit differently, but this is Virginia Beach from Shepherd's Bush. Mine will not say Virginia Beach. I've never been to Virginia Beach. Maybe I should go. But there it is. So cute. And it's a full kit. It was only a couple bucks. Somebody wanted to get rid of it, so I was happy to give it a new home. And then I did sign up for the Jingle Ball. I've done the Jingle Ball at least 2 or 3 other times. I usually end up doing it mainly for the shopping and the hanging out at the stitching tables. Some of the live interviews with the designers are fun. But this year, I not only took a class, I paid for the kit. And the reason I paid for the kit is that I don't have this color or this count, or a lot of this count, in my stash. And I signed up for and paid for the kit for Ginger, the Stacy Nash animal cracker. And it came, lovely little package, came all tied up with a little waxer. So, got all of that. And it's only 3.5 by 5.25, 66 by 93. I should be able to finish that before the class. Maybe. I mean, in the class description, it did say you don't have to have it stitched before class. But I have a goal. Let's just leave it at that. I have a goal. And yeah, we'll see. So that's the stash I have added. And here's where I'm now going to get my serious face on and talk about serious things. I try not to talk about politics on my channel, but I think if you've followed me on Instagram, if you've ever talked to me in person, I have opinions. We all do. We all have opinions, and we all need to be able to talk to each other about those opinions and the facts behind them and where the facts are and what the facts are and how we look at those facts. And I think of stitching as a safe place. It's a safe place because things like little mice that you stitch for Christmas and game boards with little creepy things on them and samplers with verses that you like are safe and warm and fuzzy and make you feel good. There's a lot of things in the world right now that don't make me feel good. But stitching still makes me feel good. But I needed a place to vent all of that into my stitching. And I don't think that I am the first or only person to do this. The subversive stitch world is deep and dark and wonderful. You can find the subversive patterns on Etsy. You can find them on Instagram. There are subversive stitch groups on Facebook. And I really believe that, historically, stitchers have been clever at putting elements of resistance and opinion and statement into their needlework. I had to do that. We all live here. We all need to care about each other. And we can all have different ideas as to how to make things better. But in the end, we should all want to make things better for as many people as we can. So keep being awesome people and making cool things. And hopefully you'll come back the next time I'm here. Bye.